Hey everyone, I'm Eric Gregson and this is from our speech class. Everyone's heard of the word food fight, and everyone knows that's like a TV fantasy. You see it on kid shows or in movies. But has anyone actually ever been in one? Unless you're like my wife, who immediately thought of like a competitive cooking show when I said the word food fight. I'm actually referring to throwing tomatoes and throwing food, like a literal food fight. Well, I've never been in one. I've never seen one, but there's a tradition in Spain, Brno, Spain, unlike any other. According to the LA Times, they call this tradition La Tomatina, where about 20,000 people wearing goggles and 130 tons of tomatoes goes head to head in the world's biggest food fight every year. At the start of the fire and water, they start it with the firing of a water cannon, and then people go head to head. People swim in tomato juices, and it's just generally crazy for about an hour when food fights going on. Um, According to Gail Jenner Online, this tradition kind of started around 1945 or 1944. No one's really sure. With two boys, they were protesting a music festival, and they were very upset. And so the only thing they could really do is they had a nearby tomato stand, so they just grabbed tomatoes off the tomato stand and started throwing them at the music festival. Eventually, he got broken up by the cops, and eventually, oh, it pretty much forced the police to intervene and break up the fight. Well, the next year, they came back to the same music festival with tomatoes, and they continued the tradition, right? And eventually, over the next decade, there were more and more people coming and coming, right? Well, eventually, people from other towns and all around Spain started coming to this tomato fight, and then in 1957, they officially made it a tradition. Shh, buddy, okay. All right. But so now there actually are some rules to this tomato fight. First, you have to squash your tomato before you throw it, because sometimes tomatoes aren't fully ripe and they're kind of hard, so you gotta be careful for other people. You don't you obey the laws. Obviously, if the car is coming, you don't hit the car. You don't want to endanger anybody, and no ripping clothing. And when you hear the horn, you obviously stop because you stop when you stop. Well, the main thing is this whole thing has brought people back together in really tough times, and it really helped build this village into a community of people. And honestly, it sounds amazing. I wish America did it. So, if you think you'd ever want to throw a tomato at somebody in August in Buenos, Spain, on the last day of August, you can buy tickets and actually go to this tradition being a major food fight. Um, so what I kind of talked to everyone about was this food fight. It started in 1945, um, and it's worth going.